Welcome to our third video, in which we will be discussing the Sullivan Language Center approach and how we would like you to structure class time for students. So without further ado, let's begin. At Sullivan, we offer 8 levels of English language training, and each level is 21 hours in length. Students usually take classes once or twice a week in 1.5-hour formats. The classes can be given in morning, at lunchtime, or after work. We ask that teachers show up at least 10 minutes before class begins so that they can properly set up the classroom and write down the vocabulary and grammar points on the board. When students arrive, please take attendance and chat with them until everyone gets there. As corporate life is quite stressful these days, we often take 5 to 10 minutes of open discussion to shift the students' focus from work to English. When you feel you have their attention, you can begin. In a 1.5-hour class, we start with 20 minutes of vocabulary, followed by 15 to 20 minutes of grammar, and spend the rest of the class on conversation, reading, and game activities. The reason we start with vocabulary is that students may be a few minutes late, or they may be eating if it is a lunchtime class. The vocabulary module should be very interactive, with the teacher asking students questions that relate to work and their personal lives. It is always a good idea to put new words or expressions that come up into sentences and on the board. Take advantage of these organic learning moments that can add discussion and fun to class time. We then follow with the 15-minute grammar module, where the teacher gives examples of the grammar, pointing along with the rules written out on the board. It is important for the teacher to be up at the board and moving around, as this makes the class more dynamic. During the conversational activities, we ask that you correct the students when they make a mistake, as we believe this is how students learn. This doesn't mean jumping on all their mistakes, but you should correct verb tense, third-person S on the verbs, and any pronunciation issues. Don't forget to correct homework that was given during the last class. Remember that since we teach in Montreal, there's a lot of Fringlish that comes up in class that needs to be corrected. For example, one might hear, "Would you like to take a beer with me on the terrace?" when they should be saying, "Would you like to have a beer with me on the patio?" The Sullivan Method is based on the conversational approach, where students speak and are corrected by the teacher. However, it is important to provide the grammar rules and discuss the nuances of the language so students can improve. As you may have a combination of visual, auditive, and speaking learners, it is important to write, speak, and practice the points as you go. The teacher can then do a page of practice in the workbook and assign 1 page for homework. The conversation module can include current events, debates, opinion topics, videos, readings, and games. Remember that if you're not having fun, your students are probably not having fun either, so try to imagine what you would find interesting if you were taking the class. There are very few topics that cannot be discussed in class, so feel free to explore, but make sure you tailor the topics to the personalities before you. Don't forget to correct students when they make a mistake, and use these moments to highlight why it is a mistake. At the end of class, each student should be reminded about what you covered and what homework is expected from them. It is important to mention that we are using technology more and more in the classroom, so you can bring your laptop into the class to play games and play podcasts if you wish. And that is our recipe for a successful class. Remember that the organic element is also important in each class, and that you should follow your gut feeling about how to proceed while paying attention to the Sullivan framework. Welcome to Sullivan.